Gentlemen of the press, we just finished the 109th Executive Council meeting. Arising from that meeting, a number of far-reaching decisions were taken, and that's why today I'm very privileged to have very senior members of the Executive Council sitting with me to address members of the press on the resolution reached. Sitting very next to me, my immediate left, is the Special Advisor on Security. He will address you first. Then, thereafter, the former Commissioner for Trade and Investment will also address you on some of the decisions reached as regards a very big event that is coming up in a week's time. And I also have my very good friend and colleague, the Commissioner for Environment, who will also be speaking to you all. And once they're done, I will now speak broadly. It's on this note I would like to hand over the microphone to the Special Advisor on Security. Thank you.
I want to say that during this Exco meeting, one of the issues that was extensively discussed was the issue of the killings of 2 soldiers in the Zagame general areas. It is a very sad event, and we condemned in totality the killing of soldiers who come to protect critical infrastructures of the federal government and our Sabayelsans. Why should they be killed? So we've condemned it as a government. We also say, well, 2 soldiers were killed, regrettable as it is. They also advised the military to be a little bit careful in taking some of the decisions they took. Soldiers went to Ayagbe, and we were told some houses were burned down, looking for those who were responsible for the killing. It is true, soldiers died. I think what they should do is to identify those who are responsible and put them on surveillance with a view to getting the suspects. By so doing, we'll have the people who did it bring to book. But as a deed, there's a community, and everybody paid for a price, particularly those who were innocent, who knew nothing about the killings. There were also the cause of action, collateral damages, and what have you. That was not good enough. This council also is of the opinion that the community leaders, civic leaders, political leaders, religious leaders must be told in clear terms to admonish the youths, educate them, so that they will not take a course of action that will be regrettable as they've done this time. As of now, government has set up a committee who, as I talk to you, is already at Azagbene to speak to them and also take the opportunity to have on-the-spot assessment of what actually happened. How many houses were actually burned? Who owns these houses? Also, to give them some palliative materials to ensure that their situations are ameliorated, while the main relief materials will be given to them within the week. That is being done now. We look forward to hearing from the community leaders and also the result of the trip that's happened in the community. Thank you.
My name is Funkazi Koroy Crooks. I am the current Chief Investment and International Affairs Advisor. Although I started this project when I was Commissioner of Trade and Investment, I've just taken it over. I've moved the portfolio into the current office. Yes, on a lighter note, His Excellency will be bringing to birth via the inauguration, or rather the opening of the new Yenagoa City. The new Yenagoa City is a parcel of land, actually an island, situated between the Epia Creek on the one side and the Nun River on the other side, right behind Government House where we are here. And it's a huge expanse of land which has been divided into different sectors. The first and the largest is the new GRA, which is over 1,000 plots of land allocated. It's been an ongoing process for about a year now, whereby a bridge has been built and is 99% done near Nopa. And that bridge itself should be, we're expecting that to be completed by September latest, and you'll cross over. But in the meantime, the launch of this new Yenagoa City will take place on the 7th of August 2019. And that is therefore next week, a week from now. It's going to be, the purpose of it is, as I said, on the one hand we have a GRA made up of over 1,000 plots of land. There will be churches there, there will be, there's going to be a petrol station there, there's going to be, so there's a school there, but there's also riverside lands for people who, His Excellency, for example, we've actually allocated some to former presidents, in fact, all governors, past and present, of this state. It is a city which is open to everybody. It is non-partisan, it is apolitical, it is for all Bielsans or all friends of Bielsa. It is, everyone is entitled to come in and apply for a plot of land on the one hand. So there will be the GRA on the one hand. In the middle of that is the castle, which has been transformed into a 19-bedroom boutique hotel, currently being operated and managed by a hotel brand chain called the Golden Tulip. To the right of that, or nestled on the left and right hand side of the castle, is the leisure activities for the new Yenagoa City. You have the polo field on one side and you have the golf course on the other side. The golf course itself is over 70% complete, and so that in itself will be opened up on its own by the end of the year, after the rains, so later on in the end of the year, hopefully with actually a PGA tournament to kickstart that. But all of these facilities fall in and within the new Yenagoa City. And that is what His Excellency will be launching next week. And we have invited those who have already bought and purchased their lands, plots of land, those who have been invited to partake in it, to share a lot more information, both in terms of how much you will pay, what the sites and services are, and also what the facilities are. Because basically what we are doing is we've created a new city that is aspirational. Right? We've spent the last 7 years fixing the education system, creating better employment activities for our state, raising standards both within the civil service and within private practice. Part of that for the movement of development is to create a living and working environment that everyone can aspire to become part of. And that is actually what the new Yenagoa City is going to do. It's not for those of us of today, it's actually for our youngsters. Because this will be one of the biggest, well it will be the biggest GRA in Bielsa State, and one that actually will be completed and functioning. And so on that day, certificates of occupancy, CFOs, will be presented live by the governor to those who have paid for their land. It will be interactive. So in fact, we are going a stage further. We're not just going to say, here is a plot of land. We're going to show you, both in terms with Google Earth, with live images, and in terms of the plans and the drawings, as exactly where your plot of land will be. So you will know that your road. You will know which plot of land you have, and your CFO will be given to you at that time for those who have taken up this particular offer. So it's a bit of good news, and it's the culmination of 7 years plus of hard work. In spite of the, as you said, in spite of our weather, whereby a lot of work cannot be done for certain parts of the year, we have managed to bring it to a head. Thank you.
Okay. Gentlemen of the press, my name is Ebipase Gabriela Pangolo, the Honorable Commissioner for Environment, Bayelsa State. Let me start by saying that this year's flood outlook is out, and NIMET has warned that most of the states in the coastal region are likely to be flooded again. And of course, it is our prayer that Bayelsa State and every other state in the coastal region should not experience what we saw last year, because it was quite devastating. Now, on this note, His Excellency, the Governor of Bayelsa State, Right Honorable HSDickson, has instructed the Ministry of Information and the Ministry of Environment to embark on massive, serious sensitization activities so that even Bayelsans, private individuals, can also take proactive measures to get themselves prepared for the unknown, so that even if the projected flood does come, the impact may not be as devastating as what we saw last year. His Excellency has also promised that the government is going to empower the Ministry of Environment financially to begin to open up the town, open up the silted drains, so that even as the rain intensifies the situation, there will be a free flow of water, so that houses will not be waterlogged. People can no longer park out of their houses like it's happened last year when the flood came in that massive level. So I want to assure Bayelsans that by the grace of God, we have a responsible and a responsive government in place that is very proactive, and we have a governor that has the interests of Bayelsans at heart. It is no longer a news of course. The rains are here again. People are beginning to have that fear because of the projection of the meteorological agencies. But the state government has started putting measures in place to mitigate the expected effect and the impact of the purported flooding. So Bayelsans should be assured that government is aware of the situation and government is on top of the matter. And by the grace of God, this time around, Bayelsans will not experience what they saw last year, because government is being prepared. Government has empowered the Ministry of Environment. Government has even called on SEMA to be prepared, so that even if the flood does come, measures will be taken to ensure that the impacts won't be as devastating as what we saw last year. Thank you very much.
To the issues already addressed by my colleagues in council as part of the resolution reached in the Executive Council meeting today. I'm doing so because, we need the media, we need the members of the press to really assist us in not only effectively disseminating information, but we also need you to also engage with our people, particularly on the issue of Zagbene. It's sad that what has happened, particularly with the killings of the soldiers, which government strongly condemn. But more fundamentally, arising from that, the sacking of the community, burning down the houses of ordinary Bayelsans, our people, as a result of the action just of a few criminal elements. And as we have seen over time, oftentimes it's the innocent one that suffer the colossal loss or effect of this crime perpetrated by young people. And just to add my voice to what the SA Security has said, we all have a role to play. Whether you are a religious leader, whether you are a community leader, opinion leader, leaders of thought, whether you are the CDC chairman, and youth leaders themselves, we need to talk to our young people, because the same thing has happened over and over again. The incident is still fresh in our memory. And it's important that the media join us in this effort, to ensure that we carry the message and let our young people know that there are consequences for actions like this. And we don't want to see another incident of this nature happening in the nearest future. So members of the press will do well to ensure that we carry out this sensitization on the need for our young people to be very, very mindful of their actions. At the heart of all of this is criminality, but people who suffer the most are those innocent people in our communities who today now are suffering as a result of that action. So members of the press will do us the honor to ensure that this message goes round, because the images that we see on social media is very disturbing. Having said that, let me speak briefly on the issue of the flood. The urgent need now, because as we speak, a number of families are displaced. I have received several text messages from people crying for help from government. The issue of the flood is one that we take very seriously as a government, and so that's why it's a subject that we discuss in council today. And His Excellency, who is also the chairman of council, has given the Commissioner for Environment, the DG of SEMA, and my humble self, the Ministry of Information, to begin massive sensitization. Oftentimes, our people fail to realize that they also have a role to play in ensuring that this issue of flooding is mitigated. Yes, government can do so much, but yes, the people too can also do so much, because they are the ones that are really at the receiving end whenever there's a flood. On our part as government, we'll continue to do what we owe the people to do, to clear the drainages and all that. But our people too must take responsibility to ensure that at least for those of them who build houses on flood-prone areas, to ensure that at least if they take advantage of the fact that with this sensitization going, they should evacuate those flood-prone areas. The alert from NIMET, as it is, if it's something that we have to go by, it's very disturbing, and so we don't want to lose any more lives in this year's flood, and therefore every caution must be taken to ensure that those who live on floodplain areas should be evacuated as quickly as possible. So beginning from tomorrow, there will be massive sensitization on radio and on social media, letting our people know what they need to do to avoid the flood. Finally, the launch of the new university is slated for August 7th. And it's a big event, and one of the things that we must bring to the fore regarding the launch of the new university is the fact that we're going to have controlled development. This is one city where you will have controlled development. As much as possible, the city has been envisaged will be one that will compare favorably with any of its kind anywhere in the world, given the amenities that have been provided there already. Of course, you heard from Kazi Korea Crooks, the golf course is there, the 18-hole golf course. You have the Castle Hotel, which is now rebranded as the hotel operated by a very well-known brand. It's already there. You also have the Polo Club, also almost at a final stage of completion. But what is most important is that on that day, CFOs will be given out for most of the plots there. Like you heard from her, there are over 1,000 plots available, and most of them will be given out. What is interesting to note that it's another way of generating revenue for our state. But more importantly, we have a new area, like a GRA created, so that there will be controlled development, and we can now have, for the first time, a city that we all will be very proud of. Sensitization will go out, the publicity for the launch of the new city will start from tomorrow. We want to enjoin members of the press to help us also in this area to disseminate the information as much as possible. I think it's on this note that I would like to say a big thank you to all of you for taking the time this evening to be here. We won't be taking questions, I'm sorry, because we have another event. Today is Praise Night. So you will forgive us. We will leave for Praise Night now, but I will accommodate your question next time. It's a promise. Thank you and God bless you.